Angle in the first. Watch out.
Look at this.
Upton pops it up. Left side, Elvis Andrus is backpedaling. He is under it. He puts it away. The Texas Rangers have won a postseason series.
The Texas Rangers are American League champions.
Hi, and welcome to another edition of Right on Rangers Live, coming at you on Thursday, February 5th. Spring training right around the corner. Pitchers and catchers reporting here in less than a week. Let's go. Like I've said to y'all throughout the offseason, there reaches that point, February, I think we're there, where you just want to start talking about ball games. There's definitely some things in the news cycle that we can run through, and we absolutely will. We're going to bring you all of the latest and greatest Rangers news. We'll talk a little WBC on the show. We will definitely talk about some of the recent signings around the league. Miguel Andujar inking a deal with the Padres last night, a guy that the Rangers were linked to, a guy that a lot of Texas Rangers fans would have loved to see the club sign. How does that affect Texas? Where do they go from here? All that good stuff. And, of course, we take your comments and we take your questions along the way. Appreciate all y'all hanging out. You guys are what helps make this show great. I love the community that's been built over the last 3 years. Crazy, it's been 3 years since we started this thing. But, look, thank you for being a loyal supporter of the show. Appreciate you guys. And we'll go ahead and we'll get things started. Let's lead off with Miguel Andujar. Miguel Andujar played for a couple of teams last year, and the numbers were incredible. I think that there was a lot to like about what Miguel Andujar did in 2025 with both the Reds and the A's. With the Reds, by the way, in 34 games, put up a .359 average. With the A's, batted just shy of 300. You look at the numbers total over the course of the entire season, and he hit .318 with an .822 OPS, and the numbers were incredible against left-handed pitching. Miguel Andujar, .986 OPS versus lefties. Where were the Texas Rangers? Bottom 5. Against left-handed pitching, the Rangers, I think the OPS was somewhere in the mid-600s. It was one of the worst OPSs against left-handed pitching in the league. A lot of people, when I commented on the Miguel Andujar signing last night, I put out something on X, a few other socials, and the $1 million or the 1 year, $4 million deal that he signed with the Padres, first of all, just don't really have any idea why Texas isn't ponying up on that one. I don't understand $4 million, where the Rangers' mind is at on that. I mean, there's either one of two things going on here. Either they've got something up their sleeve, a shock trade, a move that's yet to be made, or they genuinely feel like they've got Haggerty, Hellman, Freeman as potential right-handed platoon bats, and they feel good about that. I don't think that this comment that I'm about to make next should come off as any hate towards Hellman, Haggerty, or Cody Freeman, who we know, big fan of the show, and we're a big fan of his as well. I don't think it's a slight on any of those guys, but why wouldn't you want to stockpile right-handed bats that absolutely mash left-handed pitching? It was one of the biggest holes that the Rangers should have filled this offseason, and you feel like they didn't. You look up and down the Rangers lineup right now, you make an argument. You actually maybe potentially got slightly worse against lefties when you think about Brandon Nimmo being in the fold. And I know Nimmo is a good left-handed hitter against left-handed pitching. I know he's not terrible. but you added another lefty. You made the lineup even more lefty heavy. What did you do from a right-handed bat perspective? Not a lot, at least not a lot to be super pumped about. I think that you would have loved to have seen the club go get a Rob Refsnyder or a Miguel Andujar. There's other guys that are still out there. I don't know if they're as good of a fit as what Andujar would have been. A lot of people push back on me. We don't need any more outfielders. Austin, we don't need any more outfielders. The guy can play multiple positions. He played third base. He played left field. He can play multiple spots for you. This isn't just an outfielder. That's what he played last year. Doesn't mean that he has to play it this year. You could have potentially had a guy like Andujar play in an infield spot. Guys are versatile all the time these days. I mean, I'm not saying everybody can do it and everybody can do it well, but you could have had Andujar play at a number of different positions. The bottom line is you get his bat in the lineup. You get Miguel Andujar in the lineup against lefties specifically, and you help improve on a bottom 5 OPS against left-handed pitching in 2025 that belonged to the Texas Rangers. 1 year, $4 million. I just do not understand how a deal does not get done for that. Either the Rangers hated the player, which I don't think is an option because they were actually linked to him. It was reported multiple different times on a number of different occasions that the Rangers were strongly linked with Miguel Andujar. Second option is you have a replacement waiting in the wings. It is a day later. We still haven't heard anything. Or you really just have the Rangers feeling super confident that they are going to get bounce backs from every single player that had a bad year last year. Josh Young, a guy who had mashed left-handed pitching in his career up until 2025. I think the numbers were not so hot. I'd have to go and look at them. Don't have them on deck. You also have other guys, too, in the lineup. Josh Smith, who was pretty serviceable against lefties in 2024, really took a dive in 2025. It's another name. And then you can go up and down. Mike Hellman, Haggerty, all of these different guys that are options to be platoon players against the right-handed bats. I think the Rangers really whiffed on this one. I cannot say there's a whole lot of positive spin to be had here. I know so many of y'all, Rangers Nation, you like to keep things positive, and you guys know I try to do that as much as I possibly can, but you got to call a spade sometimes. Not signing Andujar at $4 million, it's a weird move, and I would love if there is some kind of alternative here that we are going to discover within the next few days, see why something up his sleeve. There's a couple of names out there still. Paul Goldschmidt, I know, has been a name that some Rangers fans have thrown out there in the aftermath of the Andujar signing with the Padres. At this point, I feel like you got to go get somebody. I don't know that it's the greatest idea to just roll with who you have. I'm not saying that I don't have faith in any of those guys. I like Haggerty. I like Hellman. I like Cody Freeman. I like all these guys. But I am of the mindset, much like CY is when it comes to pitching, more depth is better than less. And I know that that doesn't take a rocket science to figure out, but I have no clue why you wouldn't want to add depth when it comes to right-handed bats. If Cody Freeman becomes, again, prime Jose Altuve, I know that that's a bad word in Ranger Nation, but I think you can make the comp here. If he becomes that kind of player, so be it. That would be phenomenal if he can reach that caliber. But if he doesn't, you've got a guy in Miguel Andujar that is there, that is able, that can step in and play a number of different spots. Think about Josh Young. If Josh Young continues to struggle, you've got a guy like Andujar that can easily plug into the third base spot. Miguel Andujar, I think, would have been premium insurance for all of these different players, a number of different players on the roster right now that you are counting on a bounce back from. We haven't even talked about some of the other names, and I don't think we need to list them all out here. I think we all know who I'm talking about, but Andujar to me would have been the premium insurance that would have put a really nice bow on the offseason. You got Mackenzie Gore. You got Brandon Nimmo. You did some addition by subtraction. Dolly's out. Jonah Heim is out. I feel like Andujar would have been the perfect bow on the offseason. I really do. And I'm not pumping up Miguel Andujar like, he is going to be playing out of his mind, prime Manny Machado. But I do think that you have to consider the fact that the Rangers had a massive hole against left-handed pitching in 2025, and they really didn't do a whole lot to fix that, in my humble opinion, in the 2025-26 offseason. All right, there's my opening rant. I'm happy to hear from y'all. I know that there are some people that are 100% nodding along right now. Maybe there's some people that think I'm making a big deal out of nothing. I want to hear about it. Appreciate all y'all hanging out. Mason, yeah, what's good, man? You and I already kind of talked about this a little bit in the Discord, but the fact that Miguel Andujar goes for so little, I think is what gets you. I made the comment, Luis Arraez, $12 million. Yeah, you can go ahead and pass on that one. I have no problem with the Rangers passing on Luis Arraez for $12 million, 1-year deal. I think that's a no-brainer. You say thanks, but no thanks. Glad that you were able to get a nice deal with the Giants. At the same time, I think that he would have been helpful for our lineup, but not at $12 million. Now, Andujar at $4 million, it's just hard to excuse it. It really is. And I know Mason and I were also talking about the comment, by the way, for all y'all on TikTok. And TikTok, I'm going to get to you guys in a second here. Give me just a minute. We'll make sure all the comments get read out. Please feel free to copy and paste and repost your comment. Definitely not trying to duck anybody here on the show, so feel free to drop it again if I miss it. But I know that there were some things thrown out there about Miguel Andujar potentially being a regression candidate. I think you got to look at the career numbers, and I don't have them memorized, but Miguel Andujar in his career against left-handed pitching has an 820 plus OPS. I feel like 820 is just right around the number that he has batted for his career against left-handed pitching. And the sample size, I think, is big enough. He's got roughly about a major league season's worth of at-bats against left-handed pitching. To give you some perspective, you've got a guy in Evan Carter that has less than 100 plate appearances against lefties in his career. Evan Carter, less than 100 plate appearances. You've got a guy like Andujar with, I believe, 500 plus. We kind of know what this guy is. I think he hits lefties well. Is he maybe going to regress a little bit in 2026? Perhaps. But I think that if you would have him in a platoon role, like the Rangers probably would have, I don't think there's any reason to think he wouldn't have continued to hit left-handed pitching well. Now, we keep on going. Yeah, exactly. Mace, I'm with you on that. Hey, G-Man, what's good, brother? Good to see you as always. I'm with you. They didn't do enough unless they've got a right-handed bat up their sleeve. I don't think they did enough. I feel like you have to go out and improve the left-handed hitting. And when I say that, I'm talking about, obviously, hitting against lefties. You didn't do enough in that department. I know they're counting on Josh Young really rebounding. Josh Young, you remember, was the guy they plugged into the 3-4 hole against lefties routinely in 23 and 24. At least if my memory serves me right. I know it was in 24, maybe not as much in 23. Josh Young used to be the guy they plugged into that 3-4 spot routinely when there was a lefty starter. Wasn't the case as they went further and further along in 2025. But I know they're counting on a bounce back there. I know that there's other guys. You think about Cody Freeman, that they're thinking about they want to make the next step. We know Wyatt Langford is a staple in the lineup every single day. They're hoping he continues to give you a little bit of more pop. There's just a lot of hope in. And you guys know I'm just not a fan of the strategy. I'm not a fan of hope as your primary strategy. I hope Jock Peterson bounces back. I hope that Josh Young bounces back. I hope that Josh Smith figures out the second half woes. I hope that Wyatt Langford is that 30-30 guy. I would love for all these things to be true. I'm not actively rooting against them. But come on now. Let's not make hope the primary strategy. And if all those things that I just said end up working out, great. I'm not saying that they're not going to, but I like what Jared Sandler said. I think it was a week or two ago, maybe longer than that. Jared made some appearances on local radio, and he basically said what I've been saying all off season. The chances of Josh Young, the chances of all of these other guys all bouncing back. Josh Young, throw Josh Smith in there. Evan Carter, I think you can throw him in there. The chances of all these guys reaching their full potential in 2025 is not great. It's not great. The chances of 2 out of those 4 or 5 guys bouncing back, okay. The chances of all them bouncing back are not great. Half, okay. And that's why I say get the Andujar insurance. Buy the Andujar insurance. You want to have more depth than not. So when it's May and you've got 2 of those guys that we just listed out still struggling, you have an answer. At this point, you're hoping and praying, and you are left with what you got. And there's no real good alternatives until closer to the trade deadline. Keep going. G-Man, yes, sir. Absolutely. Let's see. You know what? You did. You messaged me about this. I did think it was odd that Josh Young, I was messaging with Rangers Nation too. I think Rangers Nation was at the game. Maybe I'm wrong on that. He might have gotten the pick from somebody else. I don't know if he was there or not. But he posted about it, and I messaged him. I'm like, dude, that's awesome. I hope you have a good time. Just, real light, real casual. And he texted me back and was like, yeah, he's not playing. Josh Young, we're talking about, by the way, at the Texas Tech alumni game. If that is true, if it is true, and I haven't heard anything, and the club is going to stay tight-lipped, if it is true that Josh Young is dealing with an injury right now, that is not great. And I'm going to keep it PG, but that freaking sucks. And that, to me, is going to not maybe a make or break, but it just doesn't make you feel good. It does not make you feel good at all about the prospects at third base for the Rangers in 2026. Excuse me. It just doesn't. I don't know if there's a whole lot of positive spin. Josh, we know, can be a great, outstanding player. He started the freaking All-Star game in 2023. Of course, this guy has potential. But if he is injured, oof. And I'm not trying to spread rumors. We don't have anything airtight. We'll say that. G-Man, I'm not trying to be disrespectful to you. We don't have anything airtight. We've got anonymous sources, which I'm not saying anonymous sources at this point are wrong, but that's what we've got. I do think it is interesting that he didn't play in the alumni game. I mean, one at bat, taking a hack. I mean, look, you don't want to get hurt out there. Put a wrist guard on, put an elbow guard on. I don't know. I mean, not even taking an AB in the alumni game is a little bit weird to me. While you got Alejandro Osuna, Robert Garcia, Chris Matt, all these guys playing in the WBC. I mean, there's nothing wrong with playing in an exhibition game. We'll see what happens, McJ. I don't think there's any update on the injury at all. Yeah, Duck, you're right on this. A couple people on TikTok are talking about Josh Young, just saying he hasn't been the same since 2024. And let's put some respect on Josh Young's name. Bro came out of the tunnel raking in 2024 before that wrist injury in Tampa Bay. A dude was hitting 400 plus. Small sample size. I think they played 1 week of baseball in 2024. Josh Young was raking. Hasn't quite been the same since. Just the exit velocity has not been there for Josh. You look at the exit velo in 23, and then you look at it in 24, 25, night and day. I think there is very much a legitimate argument that the injuries have affected him, and hopefully it's nothing that's going to keep him out long term if he does even have an injury at all. We'll see. We keep on rolling. Paul Goldschmidt, a guy that some people are talking about. I would take Paul Goldschmidt at this point. He can platoon a little bit at first base. He can be the DH against lefties. I don't think you want Jock Peterson DHing against lefties. Somebody was telling me like, oh, you're paying him $18.5 million. You got to have everyday production from Jock. I don't think that is to the benefit of the team. I think at this point, Jock Peterson has shown you he's a guy that can hit righties pretty well, and he's a guy that struggles against lefties. I don't think there's any reason to force feed Jock Peterson into the lineup against lefties. I'm platooning him. And there's a number of other bats on the Rangers that are probably going to be platooned as well. Oof. All right, we keep going. Young was, I think by and large, the numbers picked up in, are you talking about 25? Okay, 25. The numbers did, I think, get a little bit better, but he was just so bad for those 2 months. I think it's just hard to get the taste out of your mouth. Uncle Ted, possibility. Good to see you, man. Thanks for hanging out. Not playing in the alumni game with spring training around the corner is not a deal breaker. Tech is also out in the middle of nowhere. TLC, I think he was there, though. Look, G-Man, are you still around? Josh Young was at the game, wasn't he? I thought Josh Young was at the alumni game, but he just didn't play. So I don't know if the out in the middle of nowhere, no disrespect to Lubbock, Texas, I don't think that the out in the middle of nowhere was an excuse here. In my, at least research, I thought it was attended the game, just didn't play. But let me know if I got that wrong. What's my grade on the offseason? C+, B- at best. I don't think you can give the offseason an A. You didn't improve against lefties enough. You didn't go get that right-handed bat. You lost Adolis Garcia, who, look, at times was very good against lefties. I don't know what the numbers were last year, but you lost a right-handed bat. You lost two of your, I think, better right-handed bats against lefties, Marcus Semien, Adolis Garcia, and you really didn't replace them. Hard for me to give a B or an A when you left that unattended. Brandon Nimmo is nice. I'm for the Brandon Nimmo move. I cannot give the offseason an A, and I struggle to give it a B. I think it passes. I don't think it's a failure of an offseason. I think it's a passing grade. I think the highest I can go is B-, but it's probably a solid C. It passes. It passes. But I cannot say it exceeds expectations. It doesn't right now for me. Just being real. You can argue with me all you want, and I welcome it, and I'd love to hear your opinion, but I can't sit around here and say A or B. Like, I know I said B-. For me, you're in the 70s if we're talking about percentages here. You let me know. We keep going. Marcell Ozuna, Gregory, appreciate you, brother. Marcell, to me, I don't know what the money's going to be. And here's the thing, too, with Andujar. Are you going to get Marcell Ozuna for less than Andujar? I think I made the joke. I don't know if it was in our Discord or if it was on X. I forget. But it's like, you got to be getting Marcell Ozuna for darn near free to make him better value than what you would have gotten with Andujar. Is Marcell Ozuna playing for $3 million or less? Maybe. But to me, I just don't know if you're going to best that value. 1 year, $4 million from Miguel Andujar. I mean, I don't know. The other thing about Ozuna that I'm a little hesitant about, talking about Marcell Ozuna, not Alejandro Osuna, but we have some injury history, right? Ozuna struggled, I think, with a hip injury at times last year. Remember, Ozuna was, at the beginning of 2025, the guy that a lot of people were talking about as one of the primo trade deadline candidates. A primo trade deadline candidate, Marcell Ozuna. We were talking about him on the show at different points. Hey, let's go out and get Ozuna. He's available. He hits well against lefties. I got to be honest, I'm a little concerned about the injury and the age. I don't know if you're getting Ozuna for a better deal than what you would have gotten with Andujar. I would have rather had Andujar, and I know Paul Goldschmidt's old, and a lot of y'all probably aren't going to be interested, but I just think they have to improve against left-handed pitching, man. I don't think you did enough this offseason. I don't think you did enough. Gallen would be definitely, I think, one comp pick, Uncle Ted. he does have some draft pick compensation. I think Gallen is going to go back to Arizona. Maybe he does a little short-term deal. And then here's the thing with Gallen. If you do a short-term deal, you go back into free agency and you no longer have the draft pick compensation. So I think that might be the play from Gallen and Boris and that camp in general is do a short-term deal, go back into the open market when you don't have draft pick compensation attached to you. Because that's the big thing, right? You're on that rookie deal. They can offer you the qualifying offer, and you've got the draft pick compensation attached. So what I think is probably going to happen is Gallen goes back to the D-backs on a short-term deal. He re-enters free agency in a year or two, and then he doesn't have the draft pick compensation attached to him. That's my thought on that. All right, keep going. Appreciate all you guys. Only pitching we need is the bullpen. JN, by the way, good to see you, brother. Thank you for the comment. I'm not really a big fan of adding any starting pitching at this point unless it's depth. I definitely don't think you need to break the bank for Zach Gallen. I think at this point you could maybe go get a starter that might put you in a better spot if there are injuries to the top end of the rotation. Knock on wood. I don't even want to talk about that. Jacob deGrom had an incredible year health-wise. Evo's a guy that's probably always going to go on the IL at some point in a season. Clearly, I hope I have to eat a lot of crow on that, but it's nice to have starting pitching depth. You signed Gomber. I mean, that to me is probably the depth move, and they signed a couple other guys as well, right? It wasn't like that was the only arm out there. I think a bullpen move would be nice. A bullpen move would be nice. Fromber would have been nice, but not for what, $38 million? Is that what Fromber's getting paid? $38 million for Fromber Valdez? Hey, didn't we call that here on the show though? I don't like to backpat, long day, all show long, but I told y'all that the Fromber Valdez stuff was overblown. Somebody was going to sign him. One pitch. I know that we hate the Astros, and clearly that was a moment that we all wanted to really, really rub some salt into, but they were just never going to all be shutting out Fromber Valdez, them being all MLB teams. You were going to have somebody that was going to throw some cash at him. He's too good of a pitcher. And so, look, Fromber Valdez signs a 3-year deal, $38 million a year. I just think, look, good for the Tigers. By the way, talking about Fromber Valdez signing with them, a lot of lazy takes out there. Like, the Tigers value Fromber Valdez more than Skubal. They gave Skubal $19 million in arbitration, and they gave Fromber $38 million. They value Fromber over Skubal. Come on now. Come on. What are we talking about here? Nobody thinks that Fromber Valdez is more valuable than Skubal. Now, what the Fromber Valdez contract did was make me wonder, how much is Skubal getting paid on the open market? Are we going $60 million? Are we going $50 million? What is the number going to be for Tarik Skubal? Shoot, I am going to be very curious about that. But look, Skubal might be traded. And the lower the salary is for Skubal, the more attractive he is on the trade market, right? That's the one thing I think people are missing is, not that the $32 million is going to scare people away. There's going to still be teams interested in Tarik Skubal, and by the deadline, you're not going to be paying him $32 million. It'll be, 13 or 14 million, something like that. You want the number that Skubal is getting paid to be attractive to other teams. There's going to be more of a market if he's making 19 million versus 32. There just is. There's going to be some teams that would be more willing to step into the ring and throw a few prospects more out there if he's making 19 versus 32. And so to me, the Skubal, the disrespect stuff, could the Tigers have given him more money? Sure. They could have thrown out 24, been a little bit more reasonable. I do think 19 was a low ball. I get why they're doing it. I get why they threw 19 out there. because it's a business and you're trying to make Scooble as attractive as possible so you can leave your options open if you do want to trade him. But you got to go a little higher. 24, I think, would have probably been what I would have thrown out there. And you might have seen the arbitration process go a little bit differently. But you know what? Framber Valdez going back, bringing it full circle, signing with them, definitely makes the Tigers a little scarier, especially in the AL. I'm not too worried about Framber Valdez, and I'm not too worried about the Tigers' offense. Tarek Skubal is him, but I still think you got to look at some of the teams in the AL East as the top teams at this point. I'm not too worried about the Tigers. Keep going. Overpay on Valdez, Tejano Country. I'm kind of with you on that. Rico, appreciate the gifts, man. Tim, I'm not shocked that he got a nice contract. I did think $38 million was an overpay, but I never thought for a second, Valdez was going to get blackballed. A few people threw out, Trevor Bauer, he's going to get Bowered. No, he's just too good. And at his age, one little cross up, and maybe I'm not doing it enough justice. We won't use the term little cross up. One cross up like that, I just never thought that was going to keep him out of a new team getting paid a nice contract. Keep going. Appreciate all you guys. Duck, I do agree. An overpay for sure. I don't think that it's a fair or a contract that I would want to see the Rangers do. It definitely is an overpay. Appreciate all y'all hanging out. Hey, appreciate the follows too. A few of y'all have followed. If you've not hit that follow button yet, haven't hit that subscribe button yet, would really appreciate if you did. This is what we do every week in the off season. Hang out. We talk Rangers baseball. We talk about stuff from around the league as well. But during the season, it starts heating up. We pretty much go live every day. If I can not make it work because of work or whatever the case may be, maybe we take a day off here and there. Family stuff comes up. But look, I want to say, and y'all can check me on this, I want to say 145 plus games we were live after. I'd have to go back and look. I think maybe we missed 15 to 17 games, maybe even less than that. So if you like talking ball after Rangers games, this is the place for you. Come hang out. We will go live nearly after every game throughout the spring and summer months into the fall. So look, we're doing once a week right now. It's about to start getting fun. We won't do after every spring training game. It's just not worth it. And there's so much going on in spring training. We'll probably still do a weekly or maybe a bi-weekly show twice a week, but I'm not thinking every day of spring training. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of names out there. It's going to be fun to talk about, but we'll probably save every day or after every game until the season starts. So, hey, appreciate the people that have followed already. Appreciate the people that are hanging out right now. Thank you for all the comments and support thus far of the channel. You guys are awesome. Yeah, I can't wait either, TLC. I cannot wait either. I am super pumped to start seeing games and score updates pop up. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. We keep on going. Keep on rolling. Appreciate all you guys. Can't wait for baseball season. Marco, same thing. What do I think about Mackenzie Gore? Love the signing. Three-headed monster. Not sure you're going to find a better one in all of baseball. I know a lot of people pushed back on me when I said, what rotation would you prefer over this one? Some people threw out Mariners. The Yankees, I don't really get. You're just being a homer Yankees fan if you think the Yankees rotation is up there. Look, I think you got the Blue Jays looking pretty decent. I still say, we're talking playoffs, right? I'm not sure I want a different 1, 2, 3 than DeGrom, Evo, Gore in the playoffs. I just don't know if I do. Look, Dodgers, I get it. They've got Ohtani. They've obviously got Glass now. They've got Yamamoto. That's a pretty good 1, 2, 3. I think you could make some arguments there. That's one of the only ones where I'm really intrigued. I know people like the Red Sox, Crochet, and the guys that they've got down there, the young guys. I like it, but still, I'm going to trust DeGrom and Evaldi in October over a lot of the other names that you could throw my way. And so I love the move. I think Mackenzie Gore is going to reach a new level in Arlington, and I'm absolutely excited about what's next for him. Keep going. Yeah, Tim, a healthy rotation is going to go a long way. 100%. Healthy rotation will absolutely be going a long way. And I think that the Rangers hopefully will see a next step from Leiter and Latz and Rocker. If that happens, man, we're cooking with gas. Pre-spring training projected 2026 lineup. Good questions, y'all. Good questions. I do read the chat. Why do I look like Cal Raleigh? Hey, that's our Cal Raleigh comp for the day. We'll take it. As I always say during the season, I'll keep saying it, keep comparing me to millionaires. I know Cal didn't finish AL MVP. That was Judge, but potential MVP candidates, perennial MVP candidates, I'll take it, man. Is CY done with moves? I don't want to say no, but it feels like we're set at the position group, and it feels like maybe there's another pitcher or two getting signed to a minor league deal coming around the bend, but I don't know. March 6th to the 9th. Cool. You guys are going to have to remind me. I think we might try and make it down for maybe a weekend, but I don't know exactly when quite yet. But, hey, let me know when you're going to be down there. It's just fun to hear about. I can live vicariously through all y'all. I kind of do think we signed some more pitchers too, TLC. That's kind of my guess. All right, back to the lineup. I've gone back and forth about this, and I don't have it written out, so I'm kind of going on the fly a little bit here. For me, I've always said I would prefer Corey Seager hit third, and I know that a lot of people are used to him hitting in that 2-hole. I would rather Corey Seager hit third, and I would like to see Nimmo and Langford ahead of him. So for me, I'm going 1, Nimmo. I'm going 2, Wyatt Langford. I want to see that 1-2 punch. And then I want Corey Seager hitting third. I want Seager with an opportunity to drive in runs consistently. So give me Nimmo, give me, after that, Wyatt Langford, then Corey Seager. There's my 1, 2, 3. I don't know that there's a great number 4 option right now. I think a lot of it is going to be circumstantial. How does the spring go? But my thought would be you probably put Jock Peterson there. That is the role that the Rangers wanted him in. I think coming into the season, I think actually he was third coming into the season last year. I think Jock is probably your cleanup guy. And then after that, it becomes a little bit of a crapshoot. But I think after that, you're probably putting Josh Young in that spot. You're probably throwing the youngster out there, the Jungle Cat. And then the 6, 7, 8 just gets messy, but I'll just throw these out there. In the 6th spot, I will go ahead and I'll take Jake Berger. Give me Jake Berger at 6. Give me Josh Smith at 7. And then give me the catcher spot at 8. Higgy or Jansen at 8. And then I want Evan Carter at 9. I want Evan Carter at 9 because I like the concept of having that second leadoff hitter. If Evan starts tearing the cover off the ball, I think you can easily move him up in the lineup. But until that moment, I'd like to see them start him out lower, and you get that speed, you get that contact up at the top. Evan has a good eye as well. I don't think there's anything wrong with being flexible with, I would say, 5 through 9. I do think that 1, 2, 3, 4 is going to be fairly set. I think 5 through 9 starts becoming a crapshoot, honestly. But that's what I would do. So to recap, Nimmo, Langford, Seager, Jock, Josh Young, Berger at 6, Josh Smith 7, Jansen Higgy 8, Evan Carter 9. If you don't have Evan Carter 9, I mean, you can put Josh Smith down there at 9, I guess, but I just really like you have that 9 spot be kind of your second leadoff. And so the way it would work out, you have Evan Carter, you have Nimmo, you have Langford, then you have Seager cleaning it all up. Like once that lineup goes around that second time, when you get Evan Carter, Nimmo, Langford, and Seager stacked together, that's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. That's why I'm a big fan Seager not hitting second. I feel like Seager does not get enough RBI opportunity when he hits second. It worked in 2023. I just don't feel like it works enough. I think you've got to have base runners for Corey Seager. So if you want to take anything away from this discussion on the lineup, I'd like to see Corey Seager hit third. I am so curious to see what Skip Schumacher does in the first few games, but I would love to see them move Corey back into the 3 spot. I don't think you need to put him any lower than that. If he hits second, it's not the end of the world for me. It's not a hill I'm going to die on, but that is, for me, my number one preference. I would love to see Corey actually hitting third this year instead of hitting consistently second. TLC, you agree? At least hit in front of him. I guess you could have Wyatt Langford 1, Corey Seager 2, maybe put Nimmo 3, and then Jock Peterson 4. I guess that could work. I'd still prefer to see 2 base runners in front of Corey Seager than 1. I would love for Corey Seager to have a chance to hit a 3-run homer if you get the first 2 guys on, which is very possible with Brandon Nimmo and Wyatt Langford hitting back-to-back. I think Langford is one of your better hitters. You don't want to put Langford 4. You want Langford in the 1 through 3. Like, if you're going to put Corey Seager second, I think you've got to have Brandon Nimmo third. I think you've got to have maybe Wyatt Langford third. You have to have someone behind Corey Seager that is going to have some RBI opportunities themselves, and you want it to be one of your more reliable hitters. I do think Corey Seager is going to have a better year this year. I'd like to think he's going to be healthier this year, but we know we're pretty much getting 120 games out of Corey. I think 120, 125 is what you got to be happy with, and if he does more than that, phenomenal. But I don't think you're going to see Corey Seager play a lot more than 125, maybe 130 games. It's just not been the history for Siegs, and I love Corey, but I just don't see it happening. I think you're going to be really happy to get $130, and it's probably going to be more like 120, 125. Keep going. Acuna going to win MVP? Maybe. They do have to get on base. I do trust Nimmo and Langford to get on base ahead of Corey Seager. Yeah, I do think Corey is going to recover from what he did last year. It wasn't a bad year last year, just wasn't Corey's normal, and the injuries just did not help. They didn't help. Yeah, Evan getting hit on the wrist. It really did feel like Evan Carter was going to have a really strong finish to 2025 before the wrist injury in Kansas City. It just wasn't meant to be. It was not meant to be. Let's talk a little WBC, shall we? WBC coming up here in just a couple of weeks, 2-3 weeks, less than that. I'll check out WBC grand opening here, but we got a few guys that are playing. I think the most notable would be Alejandro Osuna playing for Team Mexico. You got Robert Garcia playing for Team Mexico as well. I'm not sure if he's going to be the closer or if he is going to end up in a setup role, but good to see. We'll have at least those 2 guys. Chrismat, I believe, is going to be playing as well. I think he is in the mix too. Cal Quantrill going to be participating for Canada. Chrismat for Colombia. So that's what we've got going on. We've got 4 guys. Again, Alejandro Osuna, Robert Garcia, Team Mexico. Then we got Nabil Chrismat playing for Colombia, and Cal Quantrill, who we signed recently, playing for Team Canada. So it's going to be fun. We at least got those guys to cheer for. Of course, I'm USA all the way, but if for whatever reason the USA doesn't get it done, we've got a few Rangers in the mix to cheer for. That's always good. So we'll see what happens. March 5th is when it all kicks off, March 5th to March 17th. So you'll get at least, 10 days of participation, maybe less than that, probably. I'm sure they'll give them some time off. You're at least going to see these guys in camp a little bit, but, by and large, you're going to have a number of guys missing from spring training with the WBC going on. But it was so much fun a few years back. I love the WBC World Baseball Classic. Is a ton of fun. I know some of y'all are really looking forward to it as well. But am I seeing March 3rd? I don't know if these are exhibition games or what, but I'm on the MLB website, World Baseball Classic website. Looks like March 3rd, some games are kicking off. Looks like these are just like exhibition, truly practice exhibition games. So we'll see. March 3rd, you're going to see some of these teams start playing in real games. Going to be a lot of fun. Should they have gotten rid of Robert Garcia? Unc, are you talking Robert? I don't think you should have gotten rid of Robert Garcia. Robert Garcia is controllable, and he actually showed some promise. Like Robert Garcia, if you didn't pitch him in the 9th inning, he was lights out. And the K to walk ratio when Robert Garcia faced lefties versus righties was night and day. I'd like to see them not totally give up on Robert Garcia against righties, but Robert Garcia against lefties was so much more dominant and in control. I really think if you let Robert Garcia cook in the 7th and 8th inning in matchup based situations where he's facing 2 or 3 lefties, I think that is where his sweet spot is going to be. And I think that the Rangers would be wise to put him in a role like that. I don't think he is a catch-all guy at this point in his career. I'm not saying he can't become a guy that can come in and shut down guys from either side of the plate, but he did not look comfortable against righties. The walks were much greater against right-handed batters than left-handed batters. When there was a lefty in the box, he just felt so much more calm and controlled. I really feel like when they put him into the closer role and they had him face lefties, righties, didn't matter. That was when it started going a little bit awry. Put Robert Garcia in the 7th or 8th inning this season, match him up against lefties. I think that is going to be the key to success. I would love to go to some of the World Baseball Classic games. Absolutely. Really miss Adolis. Oh, he was talking about El Bombi. Yeah, I do think that was the right move. We're talking about Adolis Garcia. I think that was the right move. I don't think that the Rangers really had a whole lot of other options. Bringing it back, to me, running it back with Dolly just did not feel right. The last 2 years were not good. I actually feel like the Rangers made a mistake in not trading him at the deadline. And I know that some people feel like maybe the market just wasn't there for him. Surely somebody would have taken Adolis Garcia at the deadline. I find it hard to believe there was nobody that called on Adolis Garcia at the end of July. We talked about on the show in 2024, going into that 24 offseason, we talked about trading Adolis Garcia in the offseason 24 going into 25, because then he'd have 2 years of control left. He had a down year, and you know what? You would have gotten some value out of him at that point. But the Rangers decided to hope that he would bounce back. He didn't, and here we are. And so I do think that Adolis Garcia moving on to Philadelphia is for the best. Hopefully he plays well with the Phillies, just not the first weekend of the season. I think Adolis will probably benefit from a change of scenery. I'm not expecting a huge bounce back. I got to be honest with y'all. I'm not trying to be a hater or a troll, but I just don't see it happening for Adolis. Look, because I love the player and he's a Rangers legend forever, I don't wish any ill will on him. I surely hope he doesn't go to Philadelphia and do terrible. I mean, this is a guy that's trying to make his livelihood playing in Major League Baseball. Not an easy thing to do, but I do hope he finds some success there. I would be a little bit surprised if we see the old Adolis from 2023, rear his head in Philadelphia. I don't think that that's going to happen. I feel like the bet is probably that he maintains right where he's at. Great defense, some hot streaks here and there, but probably a guy that's going to be hitting in the low 2s pretty routinely at this point in his career. Maybe he finds something in Philly. Hope not, for the sake of the Rangers, the first weekend of the season. But look, no ill will for Dolly at all. Definitely should have tried to get something, Mace. The projected ARB number, Mace, what was it? What was the projected ARB number for Adolis? Let me know in the chat, bud. Thank you. Only tough guy they had. Yeah, Adolis definitely, I think, was very good for the clubhouse. I've got a couple of sources. Not going to reveal names or anything like that. So if you want to take this with a grain of salt, I don't blame you. But a couple of sources that I have say Dolly was a really, really solid clubhouse guy. And the vibes were just down because of Dolly's struggles. When Dolly's hot, what I heard is everybody was up, right? Everybody was feeling themselves when Dolly was on one. But when Dolly was not going well, everybody felt it, man. And Dolly was such a vibes guy in the clubhouse, and rightfully so. I mean, he was one of the leaders of the team coming off that 2023 World Series championship. But when Dolly wasn't doing well, I think it rubbed off. And I'm not saying Dolly was toxic or he was a cancer, but I think that it just kind of makes sense logically, right? The guy was not performing well. And so it was harder for him to be his usual self in the clubhouse. And I think that could probably be said about a number of different guys that weren't having good years. Who's the vibe guy now? I'm honestly curious. Luis, for me, I don't know that there is an obvious choice. I think there's a lot of really good guys in the clubhouse, but I don't know. Jock Peterson, a lot of people made a lot about Jock and what he could bring to the clubhouse. Again, take what I'm saying with a grain of salt. Just people I've talked to. I don't know that Jock is like this big clubhouse favorite vibes guy. I think he plays the game with passion. I think he has fun playing the game. I don't think it was super fun for him last year. In fact, Evan Grant talked about how it was probably pretty humbling and embarrassing for Jock last year. I don't think Jock was Mr. Vibes last year. That's not at least how things have developed. I don't know if there's a clear-cut guy at this point. We know Corey Seager is loved in the clubhouse. I know some Rangers fans would love to see Corey Seager be more vocal. Corey Seager is beloved in the clubhouse, but Corey keeps to himself on game days, does his thing, and it's not that he's not interacting with anybody, but dude's locked in. And it's just a little bit of a different mindset with Corey. I think you love the guy. You love the character. You love what he does for the community. You love what he does on the field. But Corey is not, Mr. Rah-Rah. I think Evaldi is probably the guy a lot of people are looking at as stepping up, taking the reins of the clubhouse. And I think that probably needs to happen. I think Nate needs to be more vocal and needs to be the guy that is probably even more present than what he's been. I'm not saying Nate has not stepped up at all into a leadership role, but I think a lot of people are looking at Evo as being the guy that really needs to take the lead on the clubhouse this year. And I think that makes sense. I think that would be a good guy to step up and do that. $12 million for Adolis in arbitration. I kind of understand why it didn't work out. $12 million for Dolly in arbitration does not feel like a number that a lot of teams would have been super happy with. Leote is the leader. Leote, man, what is he up to? Is he still with the Mariners? Leote Taveras, let's check it out. Is he still with Seattle? I know he was playing with Tacoma for a while. I think they DFA'd him. He cleared waivers, and then he accepted the assignment. So we'll see. I don't know what he's with the Orioles? Orioles. Okay. He signed with the Orioles. All right, then. There we go. Leote and Oriole. Is he on the active roster? Doesn't say in the transaction list. I don't know if he's on the active roster or not, but there you go. Evo would be a crazy awesome pitching coach. Zach, appreciate you, brother. Good to see you. I do think Evo, if he wants a job coaching one day, I think there's going to be a lot of people lining up for that. I think a lot of people are going to be lining up for something like that for sure. All right, we keep on going. Appreciate all y'all. Hit that follow button if you haven't already. This is what we do every week of the offseason, and then we'll be going every day, nearly every day, every game. Once game one is upon us, once the season starts, it's pretty much 7th, 8th inning of every game. Sometimes the 9th inning, it kind of depends on what's going on. If it's close, we will probably jump on 7th, 8th inning. If it's out of reach, maybe we go 9th inning. But we do a post-game show. It's awesome. I would love to see y'all there. Hit that follow button so you don't miss out in the future. Hey, Brian, what's up, man? Yeah, look, my bad. I know we've been doing Wednesdays. I kind of started doing Thursdays once NFL ended on Thursday nights. I didn't want to have to compete with football, and honestly, I wanted to watch the games too. But now that NFL, Thursday night NFL is over, I decided Thursdays are a little bit better for me in my schedule. So I think I'm going to stick with Thursdays from here on out, if y'all don't mind. If you do mind, I guess, catch it on the replay on YouTube. All of my lives, by the way, for all y'all on TikTok, if you ever miss a show, you can always go to YouTube and check out the live shows. I record all of these, so you'll literally get word for word whatever it is that you missed out on. So TikTok, that's for you especially. All right. Good to see you, man. Hey, Brian, if you got something you want to get off your chest, if you got a question, man, fire away. I'm going to be on here for about 5 more minutes. We're going to wrap things up. We've been going almost an hour. So, hey, if you want to get something out, man, now's the time to drop it. Let's go. Dodger Juice, what's good, man? I think we're all ready for baseball. We're all ready for baseball. By the way, everybody's welcome. We got a lot of fans. We got a lot of followers that are big fans of other teams. It's all good. I mean, we talk big-time baseball news regularly on the show. Clearly, you're going to be getting a Rangers slant pretty much every day from me, every show from me. But if it's big, we're talking about it. Absolutely. Dodgers, I think, are primed for another championship. I think we might be seeing a three-peat, y'all. I don't want to see a three-peat, but it is absolutely not going to shock me if Dodgers three-peat, man. It's not. Joshua, what's good, man? Thanks for the comment. Yeah, look, I don't like saying it out loud, but that would, I think, be a pretty safe bet. Dodgers three-peat. Anything can happen in baseball. It's the beauty of the sport, but Dodgers are going to be tough to dethrone. They just are. You got Yamamoto, another year under his belt. Sasaki, Roki, another year under his belt with a bunch of World Series experience. Is going to be tough. It's going to be tough. The vibe could be a mix of guys, Nimmo, Wyatt, Duran. You'd like to see Wyatt take on a bigger leadership role too. Like if Wyatt could kind of be on the hitter side and, you know, if Evaldi could be on the pitching side, I think that would be ideal. Nimmo maybe as well. Hey, Francisco, appreciate you, man. Jamie, thank you for the gifts, brother. Appreciate you guys. So generous of you. Definitely not needed, but much appreciated, man. All of the things that you guys give all goes to help support me and the things that I do here on the channel, producing content, all that good stuff. So thank you so much. Appreciate you guys. How am I feeling on the – we want to talk a little football? I think Pickens is going to get re-signed. I think the Cowboys are going to find a way to get it done. By the way, we talk pretty much everything DFW sports. I don't cover hockey just because I'm a very casual hockey fan. Definitely not an expert by any stretch of the imagination. So I don't mind talking hockey, but I'm not going to speak super intelligently about it. So stars are probably a little bit less talked about here on the show, but we talk Mavs, we talk Cowboys, we talk Rangers, predominantly a Rangers show today. But yeah, I think they get the job done with Pickens. I'm not saying that's the smartest move for the Cowboys to make, but I just don't see them letting him go. I really don't. I think they'll draft defensively, Brian. I think they'll sign Pickens and probably do a bunch of defensive draft picks. Javonte Williams, we'll see what happens. That's going to be another interesting one. What do I predict the Rangers' record is going to be? I think I said 85 or 86 wins. I'm not sure the Rangers get to 90 wins this year. I do think 85, 86 might sneak into the playoffs. Not a foregone conclusion, but I'm just not sure the Rangers get to 90. I'm not sure. I don't feel like that is going to happen. I do think high 80s is possible. 90 feels tough. If they would have added a little bit more offensively, I'd feel differently. I'm not saying the Rangers missed the playoffs because I think, 86, 87 wins can get you there. But that's about where I'm at. I would take the over. I want to say the Rangers over-under in Vegas is 83.5. So over-under in Vegas right now for Texas Rangers win total is 83.5. Last time I checked. I would take the over on that. I would take the over. I think they get to 84 wins at minimum and maybe better than that. That's me. I think that there are some people out there, though, that like the under. You have some injuries to top starters on the Rangers. The offense doesn't figure it out. Yeah, this could be a team that wins, high 70s, low 80s again. So I get why some people like the under, but I'm always going to be optimistic. I'm going to be placing my World Series championship bet here pretty soon, whatever the Rangers are at, and I'll probably take over 83.5 wins as well. I think, Jamie, with the Austin Gomber signing, I don't think they're adding any more starting pitching, brother. I mean, I'm not saying that they shouldn't. I don't think there's anything wrong with going out and getting another good starter. By the way, is Chris Bassett still out there? That was a guy that I actually wanted to see the Rangers look at. Is Chris Bassett still out there? That's a very interesting name. That, to me, is a guy that is probably going to have a good year in 2026. Ketel Marte, Francisco, I think Arizona took him off the market. I don't think that he is available. I mean, I'm sure maybe some teams are still trying. I'd love to see Ketel Marte in Ranger red, white, and blue. He would fit in perfectly. No disrespect to Josh Smith, Cody Freeman. Love those guys, but you slot Ketel Marte right into second base. This lineup gets a lot better very, very quickly. Ketel Marte loves hitting in Arlington as well. I think we all have PTSD from Ketel Marte's performance in Arlington last year as the Diamondbacks beat up on the Rangers a few different times. Ketel Marte would be great. Yet Bassett's still out there. I don't think the Rangers are in the market for Bassett. Don't get it twisted. But, I mean, Bassett would be a guy you'd love to add to your rotation. If you're Texas, I mean, how great would it be to be able to have Bassett as a fourth or fifth starter, right? I think that would be phenomenal. I don't know if Bassett cares as long as he's getting his money, but if you threw Bassett into our rotation, that feels pretty nice. And Jack Leiter, and then you've got Latz, you've got Rocker potentially still coming along. That'd be great. One more good bat is really what I'd like to see, though, Jamie. I would have loved to have seen Andujar get signed. I think the Rangers do need to figure out a way to get one more right-handed bat in the mix. I do think Vortex, it's a possibility. Let me end with this because we've almost gone about an hour. I'll end with this. The Rangers are in a tough year. If the Rangers are not in a playoff spot at the deadline, I do think that we could potentially see this team get deconstructed. I personally don't see the benefit in keeping, and I love these guys, so don't take this the wrong way, but I don't see the benefit in keeping Seager, DeGrom, Eovaldi. I don't see the benefit in keeping those three guys if you're losing and not in a playoff spot at the trade deadline. DeGrom and Eovaldi each have 2 years left as of right now on their deals. DeGrom has a very expensive year 3 club option that I don't think anybody's probably going to take, but it is there. I think you would be wise to trade DeGrom and Eovaldi if you're not in a playoff spot in July. And Seager, same thing. Now, Seager, I think, has the NTC, right? The no trade clause. There's a few teams, though, that you could trade him to. I don't want to see them trade Rangers legend Corey Seager, but I don't get the benefit of keeping him if you're going to go full rebuild, which is probably what you're going to do if you're not in a playoff spot at the end of July. I don't want to think too much about this because I'd like the Rangers to be a competitive team for the next several years, but that is, I fear, the consequence of not being in a playoff spot at the end of July. You're going to see the team get deconstructed. You're going to see the team go into full rebuild mode. I don't think really anything else would be wise. There's really no other option at that point, in my opinion. You got to start over. You got to start fresh. You trade Nimmo, you trade Seager, you trade DeGrom, you trade Eovaldi, you trade every big contract, and you just let the young guys cook. You let Carter cook. You let Langford cook. You let Walcott come on up, make his major league debut. It could actually be kind of fun. But I don't want to see that happen. I want to see the Rangers compete for a World Series championship. But I do think that that is going to be what the Rangers are solely focused on in 2025. The rebuild talk, I don't really want to go there, but, you know, you asked, so I respond. I think that the Rangers are going to do everything they can to get this team back to October, but you know, if they're not there in July, at the end of July, I think you're going to see guys like, you know, Cody Freeman and Evan Carter and Sebastian Walcott and Cam Cauley probably get a lot more opportunity. I don't think we want to go there quite yet, but that is the alternative. Is CY on the hot seat? I think I have said yes. I do feel like if the Rangers don't get back to October, he probably will be. Look, I like Chris Young, and I think that he's always going to be a legend for helping win a World Series championship with some of the moves he made in 2023. It's undeniable, but I think it's also undeniable. You missed the playoffs back-to-back year. It's a tough business. How could you not be on the hot seat, right? I mean, I just think it's kind of a logical conclusion, is it not? I don't think it's anything personal against Chris Young, but you missed the playoffs 3 years in a row. You can blame the players, but it's very rare that a front office guy or a manager survives 3 years in a row without making the playoffs. Not in every situation, right? And CY might get the opportunity to do full rebuild just like John Daniels did. I think that's very possible. But the question is hot seat. And yes, I think I would be a little surprised if a front office guy wasn't on the hot seat after 3 years of missing the playoffs. That would surprise me. Can Evan Carter stay healthy? I sure hope so. I'm surely not rooting for him to not stay healthy. I think Evan Carter is feeling good right now from what I hear, and you're hopeful that he can give you 125, 130 games. He might have to platoon a little bit here and there against lefties, but that's the hope. Yeah, I don't love that the Rangers are very dependent on good health. Brian, this is a comment that's well taken. You don't love how dependent the Rangers are on, hey, if this guy can stay healthy, if that guy can stay healthy. You'd like to just not even think about that, but it is a real concern. There are some guys on the Rangers that have struggled with injuries, and you're just hoping and you're praying that everything stays intact and everything stays 100% for as long as possible. But they definitely, I think, have some question marks. Can certain players give you longevity over the course of the season, both with their health and with their performance? Legitimate things to bring up, 100%. Keep on going. Praying he stay healthy. Do I think Kumar Rocker will find his stuff? I see Rocker and Leiter on similar trajectories. We've talked about this a lot. I think, you had to give Jack Leiter some patience, and it really ended up working out well. I see a lot of, I don't want to be extreme. I don't want to, operate in extreme talk one way or the other, but I see a number of people talking about Kumar Rocker kind of being in a make or break year. I think that is baloney. Insert whatever term you want to. I try to keep things PG, but I think that's baloney, man. Like, Jack Leiter was given a lot of rope. He was a first-round draft pick, top 3 draft pick. Kumar Rocker in 2022 was a top, 5 draft pick. Like, they're going to give Kumar Rocker a lot of leash, and I do think Kumar's going to find his stuff. We were talking about Kumar Rocker a few weeks ago when Cody Freeman came on the show. Cody definitely knows the stuff's real. He talked about it a little bit. Cody got to catch him, and I think his first, Winter League game ever. Kumar Rocker's got great stuff. I think he is going to find it. I really do. Jack back with 22 could be missing piece of the... I hope so. I hope Jack continues his progression upward, man. Hey, Pete, what's good, brother? Trash Panda, appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. Look, I'm not perfect. I have a lot to get better at, but I try to just give y'all the real stuff, as genuine and authentic of takes as I possibly can. And honestly, I don't just say this because y'all are here hanging out, but you guys help keep this show fresh, right? And the community we built over the years has been great. Shameless plug here, by the way, but would love to continue to add to our Discord family. It's like the one thing I've monetized on the show. It's $2.99 a month. You can subscribe on TikTok, $2.99 a month. YouTube, it's the same price. It gets you into our exclusive Ride on Rangers Discord. You get access to a lot of very high IQ people, a lot of really good people as well beyond their baseball knowledge. And, of course, you get round-the-clock access to me, my thoughts. I throw quite a few things out there. And it's just been a great group, a great community. Would love to have you a part of it. So again, subscribe, consider it on TikTok, $2.99 a month, $2.99 a month as well on YouTube. We'll get you into the Discord right after the show. Shameless little plug from me. Appreciate y'all considering. But so much of what we do is always going to be free. I do this because I love the game and I love getting to talk to like-minded people, like-minded Rangers fans. So appreciate all y'all. Thank you so much. All right, we're taking off. Got to go spend some time with the fam, get a little bite to eat here. We'll be back next week. I got to get back on my game with the shorts, with the reels. It's been a while. I think the last one I did was on Mackenzie Gore. Maybe I need to do an Andujar reaction. I think that might be the direction I go here. We'll see what happens. But appreciate all you guys. Hey, if you haven't followed the show yet, hit that follow button. Would love to see you back next week. Want you to be able to keep up with all of our latest and greatest content. If you're on YouTube, Instagram, X, same thing. Hit that follow button. Would love to have you be a part of this great community here right on Rangers. Love y'all. Hey, we'll see you guys next week probably. Maybe we drop a short or a reel here in the near future. But definitely as well can follow me on X. I post there quite a bit, formerly Twitter, pretty much every day. I'll throw something out there. So if you want to follow me in the in-between times, X is a great place. Threads as well, Facebook, you name it. I'm probably there. Thursdays now, Brian, we are moving to Thursdays. Wednesdays was really, really common. And I know I've said I'm going to try and do better, dropping a post. Hey, I'm going live tonight. We're going to try and make Thursdays kind of the everyday thing. All right. So, Brian, yes, sir. Thursdays from now on, buddy. All right, guys. Love y'all. Have a good night. And as I always say to every show, God bless and go Rangers.